Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. This is the deep dive, where we take a stack of the latest research, in this case the SmartKeys article, Why a Good Night's Rest is Your Best Productivity Tool, and give you the strategic insights you need, and fast.
Today, we're focusing on a topic that, is often seen as just a wellness thing,
Right.
but it's actually a powerful lever for business performance. We're talking about the strategic link between sleep and productivity.
And our mission here is really to move past that simple advice, get more sleep, and show you how protecting your rest is maybe the highest ROI move you can make right now.
Exactly. This research, it directly challenges that outdated assumption of grind culture.
Oh, absolutely. For years, the signal of dedication was pulling all-nighters or, just surviving on almost no rest.
That was the badge of honor. But this perspective, it positions quality rest not as a nice-to-have, but as the single most powerful tool you have to boost performance.
And to cut errors. You just can't optimize an exhausted brain.
You can't. And the cost of trying to is, well, it's measurable. The data consistently shows most adults need 7 or more hours. That's a biological baseline.
And yet, survey after survey shows a huge portion of the workforce just isn't getting that.
Not even close. So what's the price tag when that deprivation hits the whole organization?
That's the big question.
It's staggering. One study calculated that nearly 38% of U.S. employees report being chronically fatigued.
38%? Wow.
And when you quantify that, it costs employers an average of $1,967 per person annually.
So across the country, what does that add up to?
It totals approximately $136.4 billion.
$136 billion. That's why this isn't a wellness talk. It's a financial strategy.
Precisely.
Okay, that really puts a sharp point on it.
Yeah.
So we're moving beyond basic sleep hygiene and into strategic data-driven optimization. To do that, we need to understand what's actually happening when we're resting that makes us so much sharper.
It's like an overnight system update for your brain. The biological foundation is all about repair.
Repair.
Yeah, during deep sleep, your neurons shift into a maintenance state. They're rebuilding these critical neural networks that manage things like impulse control, complex problem solving.
So it's literally restoring your capacity for attention, for memory.
For attention, for working memory, and, this is critical, for creative insight.
And I imagine these gains aren't just, feeling less tired. What specific executive functions get a boost?
We see direct gains in functions that are critical for leadership. Things like strengthening decision-making. You're less likely to fall for cognitive biases.
That makes sense.
It improves error detection, sharpens risk assessment. Think of it as restoring the clarity of your prefrontal cortex.
Fatigue definitely makes us more reactive than thoughtful.
Precisely. And it also stabilizes your mood and emotional control. When you're tired, the amygdala, the brain's threat center, it's hyper-responsive.
So you get more volatility in those high-pressure meetings.
Exactly. And crucially, memory consolidation happens while you rest. That's what fuels associative thinking, the ability to link different ideas.
Which is the engine of innovation.
It is. If a team isn't resting well, they simply aren't innovating efficiently.
Now, let's talk about the more immediate and, frankly, dangerous consequences. The article mentions something called the alertness trap, which leads to microsleeps. What are those, and why are they so risky?
Microsleeps are these brief involuntary lapses. The brain just disengages for a fraction of a second, up to maybe 10 seconds.
So you're awake one moment, and then your brain just hits an emergency reset button.
That's a great way to put it, an emergency reset. And the scary part is you often don't even realize they're happening.
And while you might just miss a word in an email, if you're in a high-risk job, the consequences are huge.
Exactly. For safety-critical roles, think air traffic control, surgeons, long-haul trucking. These lapses dramatically raise the risk of serious errors.
I've read studies that compare severe fatigue to being legally impaired by alcohol.
That's right. For tasks requiring sustained vigilance, the performance deficits can be similar or even worse.
Which leads us right into this damaging cycle the article identifies. This vicious loop where the whole point of skipping sleep to get more time is completely negated.
It is the self-sabotaging trap of the modern worker. You cut rest to gain an extra hour late at night, right?
Sure.
But then your impaired performance the next day creates mistakes, more rework. So you end up spending 2 hours fixing a problem you created while tired.
And you fall into a deeper productivity hole, which then makes you feel like you have to cut sleep again.
It's a spiral. The only solution is not to work harder, but to break the loop by building a fence around your recovery time.
Protect that window.
You have to. When people try to outwork lost rest, they're just trading quality for a rapidly diminishing quantity of work.
Okay, so if protecting that window is the goal, let's shift to how we do it. The individual strategies for maximizing quality. A lot of us might log 7 or 8 hours, but still wake up feeling foggy.
Yeah, and that's the difference between quantity and quality. Quantity is simple, it's the total time. 7 hours is that baseline.
But quality is more nuanced.
Much more. It's measured by things like sleep efficiency, the time you're actually asleep divided by your total time in bed, and the number of times you wake up.
So if I'm in bed for 8 hours, but I'm only really resting for 6.5 because I'm tossing and turning.
You're still running a massive deficit.
Yeah.
You've logged the time, but the restorative processes, they've been fragmented. You're not getting enough of that deep, slow wave and REM sleep.
So what are the highest yield, smallest changes you can make right away?
The number one priority is stabilizing your circadian rhythm. You do that by setting a steady bed and wake time,
Even on weekends.
7 days a week. Consistency is king.
Yeah.
It aligns your internal body clock, which makes falling asleep easier and your rest deeper.
And what about the physical environment? I know things like light and temperature are huge levers.
Critical and cheap to fix. Your brain starts the sleep process by lowering your core body temperature.
So a cooler room helps that along.
Exactly. The sweet spot is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 15.5 to 19.5 Celsius. Beyond that, blackout curtains for total darkness and maybe some white noise to mask sounds.
Cooler, darker,
Well,
quieter,
it's-
simple.
It dramatically boosts rest quality.
Okay, that's the physical side. But what about the mental side? I think this is where people really struggle, especially with remote work.
Yeah.
How do you create that psychological detachment?
Evening boundary rituals, they are absolutely essential for that mental shift. If your brain is still churning over a work project, it's not going to power down.
So step 1 is a hard log off time.
A hard log off, and then right after, you do a short brain dump.
Explain that technique.
Eh.
Why is physically writing stuff down so powerful?
The brain dump is about externalizing your to-do list. You spend maybe 10 minutes just listing tomorrow's tasks, any worries. The act of writing it down tells your brain it's captured. You can let go of it for now.
It stops that late night rumination.
Exactly. It helps you transition from work mode to home mode.
And then the final, and maybe the hardest ritual, the tech boundary.
So crucial. You need a tech boundary that's sacred. Charge your phone away from the bed,
Not on the nightstand.
not on the nightstand. And silence all notifications after that hard log-off time. It's not just the blue light from the screen, it's the stress response you get from a late-night ping from work. It tethers you right back.
Let's pivot to a really specific tactic. Naps. If you were in that deficit, how do you use a nap as a precision tool without messing up your whole night?
Naps have to be treated like a surgical intervention, not a lifestyle. The
Wow.
key is brevity. A 15 to 20-minute power nap is perfect.
Why that specific window?
It's short enough that you stay out of the deepest stages of sleep, so you wake up refreshed, with quick gains in attention, but without that grogginess, that sleep inertia.
That's the feeling that makes most people hate naps, waking up feeling worse.
Exactly. It means you slept too long. But there's a fascinating technique to maximize that 20-minute window: the coffee nap.
I've heard this term. How does the chemistry of that actually work?
It's just smart timing based on biochemistry. When you're tired, a chemical called adenosine builds up in your brain. Caffeine works by blocking those adenosine receptors.
Okay.
So you drink a small cup of coffee, and then you immediately take your 15 to 20-minute nap.
Why immediately?
Because it takes about 20 minutes for the caffeine to be fully absorbed and reach the brain. So you wake up right as that alertness boost is arriving. You get the benefit of the nap, plus the immediate kick of the caffeine. It's incredibly effective for that afternoon slump.
So we've covered the individual habits.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on and talk about the strategic business case. What does all this mean for leadership and for the organization?
This is the strategic step. Fatigue, risk management, and smarter scheduling are not soft HR things. They're hard, direct cost reduction strategies. That $136 billion figure, leaders can actively reduce that.
So what are the most actionable policies managers can adopt?
The evidence is really strong when it comes to shift work. For schedules, the data recommends designing forward rotating rosters.
So that means shifts go from day to evening to night, not the other way around.
Correct. It allows the body clock to adapt more gradually. It's biologically easier to lengthen your day than to shorten it.
And what's the minimum rest period you need between shifts to cut down on risk?
Critically, you have to set minimum rest periods. Aim for 11 or more hours between shifts. Avoiding those quick turnarounds, the clopin significantly lowers error rates and improves health.
And the culture is just as important as the policy. How do leaders model the right behavior?
Leaders have to model psychological detachment. They need to protect after-hours limits by stopping routine late messages. If a manager sends an email at 10 p.m., even if they don't expect a reply.
It sends a signal to the whole team that they're expected to be on.
Exactly. The fix is as simple as scheduling those messages to arrive during business hours. If the CEO's emails only land at 9 a.m., it reinforces that hard log-off for everyone.
What about for 247 operations?
Creating quiet, dark rooms for short, on-site naps is a measurable benefit. It shows the company sees rest as part of performance preparation.
And the great thing is, these improvements are measurable. How should leaders be tracking this?
They need to broaden their definition of risk. Track fatigue-related near misses on your safety dashboards, not just accidents.
So, close calls that were probably due to slow reaction times.
Exactly. And measure outcomes like absenteeism, turnover, and employee morale.
You mentioned using the Employee Net Promoter Score for morale. Can you explain that?
Of course. The ENPS just tracks how likely employees are to recommend their workplace to a friend. It's a powerful proxy for job satisfaction. If people are burnt out, that ENPS score drops sharply.
So it's a leading indicator of a retention problem.
A huge one. Tracking this shows leaders the ROI of their policies. Small changes can produce really outsized returns.
Okay, so as we wrap up here, what is the core takeaway for someone listening right now? The highest leverage habit they should adopt tonight?
It's that protecting a steady, consistent night window is the single best thing you can do for immediate gains in clear thinking and fewer mistakes the next day.
Don't see it as a pause in productivity.
See it as performance preparation. You're investing in tomorrow's capacity.
And what if you are completely sleep deprived right now? You're dealing with a crisis, you're running on fumes. How do you triage your schedule to protect yourself?
Triage immediately.
Right.
Delay any non-urgent, high-stakes work. If you absolutely must do it, add a peer check to catch the inevitable errors. And above all, prioritize safety. Do not drive drowsy.
That reframes the whole conversation, treating rest like a pre-shift safety step.
It absolutely does. And the good news is, better rest habits can show cognitive gains within just a few days of being more consistent. Those gains translate quickly to measurable financial benefits and a safer team.
But there's one last important point to make here.
Yes, we have to stress this. If you have persistent insomnia, if you snore loudly and habitually, or you have excessive daytime sleepiness that just won't lift, those are red flags.
It's time to see a professional.
Consult a clinician. Many underlying conditions are highly manageable, and treating them will dramatically improve your work and your quality of life.
That is valuable context. Thank you for tuning in to the SmartKeys podcast.
We hope this deep dive helps you implement some of these strategies and really optimize your recovery for peak performance.
For more insights on the future of work and strategic productivity hacks, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your audio. And we strongly encourage you to read the full article by Felix Römer, which dives even deeper into the data. You can find the link in the show notes.
Until next time, work smarter by resting deeper.